Hey, everybody. Welcome to day 505 of Reseller Reflections, a day in the life of a full-time reseller supporting her family. It is Sunday, August 26th, 2025, and we did not meet our sales goal yesterday, and we did not meet our sales goal for the week. So knew that was going to happen, and yeah, all right. So got to really kick things into gear now, at least the things we can control this week. Things that are out of our control sometimes are sales. So we'll continue to ride that roller coaster. I forgot my mic here. All right. I'm all reset to zero, although I still have a ton of shipping to do. I have been working on it for a while, along with my accounting, and that is Sunday. That is my Sunday afternoon task, is the accounting and the payouts and all of that stuff. And there just was an inordinate amount of shipping today. So I'm going to try to finish most of that up before I go to bed. Because as you all know, who's with me on this one? I don't like to wake up on Monday morning with a crazy amount of shipping and start my week off like that. But sometimes it happens. But I try to avoid it at all costs. All right. So go reset to zero. Hopefully that includes getting your shipping done if you're one of those people that likes to get it done on Sunday night. All right. So, what I want to talk about is we're going to go back to that Mel Robbins episode about stress and overwhelm, which I will link up at the end of this video and in the show notes. And one of the things that we talked about was overwhelm the other day. If you haven't watched that reseller reflection, I would say go back, watch that about overwhelm, and get a little tip trick on how to ease a little bit of the overwhelm that you may be feeling. And it is way different than taking something off your plate. All right. But what I want to talk about is another thing she talked about in the episode with an expert. And that was what we call the brain dump, right? All of the things we have to do that are floating around our head. You can set a timer for 2 minutes. Maybe you have a notebook, maybe you have a sheet of paper. It doesn't really matter what it is, but all of those things that are making you feel stressed and overwhelmed and are just kind of like out there, like, oh, I have to, I don't know. I'm trying to think of one of those things that's, oh, I need to replace the hardware on the piece of furniture in my bathroom, and it's been driving me nuts. All right, so that should be on my list. Like all of those little things that are floating somewhere in your brain, just, no judgment, just write them down on a piece of paper. Like, I have to finish the shipping, I have to finish my accounting, I have to record an episode tomorrow, whatever is coming up for the week, whatever is on your mind, get it off your mind and onto a piece of paper. And then there are, things you can do after you do that, but that is massive. And some of the current research is showing that people will sleep better if you have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep and your mind is constantly running. The people that have had the most success do this before they go to bed. They write down all the things that are on their mind. As maybe it's not necessarily a brain dump, maybe it's things you have to do tomorrow. They write it down, and we've heard this over and over, but there's a little piece of it that I didn't know. Write them down. Like, keep a notebook by your nightstand. I like writing it down as opposed to having it on the phone, because I don't like to be on the phone right before bed. But whatever's going to work for you. I do recommend a piece of paper or a notebook or something like that, and physically do the act of writing it down and getting it off your mind and onto the paper. And that's called, so it can be called brain dump, but the real term for it is cognitive offloading, which I like a little better, but I know Molly and Samantha are going to get on me about that. So cognitive offloading, brain dump, whatever. Just get it done, give it a shot, do it for a couple weeks and see if it helps. What the study showed, this was very interesting to me, is they took 2 sets of people and they had one set write down all of their accomplishments for the day. So that's what we call like the to-done list. Wow, look at all the stuff I did today, which is a great thing to do at the end of the day, but maybe not before bed. Maybe you do that at the end of your work day or something like that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do, and that's not necessarily what this study showed. But they were the people that, and then they offset that with the people that did the brain dump, the cognitive offloading at night. And wrote that down. And really, the people had more peace, less stress, slept better when they did the cognitive offloading as opposed to the to done list. So think about adding that. If you're doing a to done list, don't stop doing that. You got to celebrate the small wins. And yeah, that's always kind of fun to celebrate the small wins. And you should feel successful and productive at the end of the day. And that's a great way to do it. So I'm not saying stop, do that, but go ahead, try the cognitive offloading at the end of the day. Write it down on a piece of paper before you go to bed. And hopefully, some of those crazy things that are swirling around in your mind and the things you are worried about, stressed about, are off your mind, onto the piece of paper, and your head is on the pillow and you are asleep. I don't know. See if it works. I don't really have trouble sleeping, so I can't really test this one out too well. Um, yeah, so that's what I have for that. Go listen to the episode. Again, there are lots of things in the episode that do help with stress and overwhelm. I think Mel Robbins did a great job with this episode. I truly appreciate it. And I hope you do too. And yeah, share it with a friend. Share these reseller reflections with a friend. If you think maybe they can use some tips and tricks on overwhelm, stress, and just getting through life and running a business. Yes, all the stress of that, because it's not easy. And there's a decent amount of stress. All right, everybody, have a wonderful evening, and I will see you on day 506 of Reseller Reflections. Night, night.